Hari ini spesial banget karena aku, Rajamin, siswa Stella Maris Gading Serpong, yang student of International Baccalaureate IB Diploma Program, dan juga juara satu Putra Stella Maris 2024, akan punya kesempatan untuk bisa ngobrol bareng dengan alumni dari yang sekarang sedang berkarir di UK. Halo, Kak Sean, are you there?
Hi, Raja. I am. Thank you for inviting me here.
Ah,
Hello, everyone.
okay. Personally, I'm very excited because jarang banget aku bisa ada kesempatan bisa ngobrol langsung dengan alumni Stella Maris yang bahkan sudah sampai kerja di UK. Maybe Kak Sean, you can firstly introduce yourself a bit about, your journey, how you went from Stella Maris to where you are right now.
Yeah, definitely. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Where you're from. My name is Sean. I am 26 years old and I am an in-house trainee solicitor based in Liverpool. So some of you may not know what a trainee solicitor is. So I'll just paint a quick picture for you. We're basically junior lawyers here in the UK. We're learning on the job under supervision. I would
Oh, I
equate
see.
this to actually a legal version of a medical residency. I transferred to Stella Maris in seventh grade, where I completed my IGCSE and IB diploma afterwards, graduating in 2016. I applied and went to only one university, the Hague University of Applied Sciences, the Haagse Hogeschool. I got there on a scholarship at The Hague to pursue a degree in international and European law. I went on an exchange afterwards in third year to Lincoln, the University of Lincoln in the UK. That's where I decided I wanted a career in the UK. I went back to finish my final year. Thankfully, I was able to do so earlier and I graduated with high honors, and so on and so forth.
Wow, perjalanan yang panjang sekali ya, Kak Sean.
Yeah.
Very surprised to hear that. That's amazing. So, Kak Sean tadi graduate from Stella Maris in year 2016, is that right?
Yes,
So, it's been 9 years, sudah 9 tahun.
I know.
Tidak kerasa ya, Kak Sean. Kak Sean, waktu dulu sekolah di Stella Maris, what kind of student were you? Yang super rajin kah? Atau yang pretty chill? Or somewhere in between?
Interestingly, we have to discuss both the IGCSE and my IB years. During my IGCSE years, so that's 7th to 10th grade, I did not know how to study. I'm pretty
Oh, I
sure in
see.
7th grade, I nearly failed all of my classes.
Oh.
I definitely failed 7 out of 15 at the time.
Hmm.
But then I think it was the end of my 10th year, and at the time we had this teacher, Mr. Ivan. So I believe he's a UK resident, so he's English. And I received a compliment from him during a parent-teacher conference. He complimented me on my English speaking skills.
Oh, I
And
see.
it may seem like not a lot to a lot of people, but I've never been complimented on anything my entire life regarding my studies. So this meant a lot to me. Although it did start an ego trip for the next half year, but we're gonna skip past that. Um, After that, I actually tried to study and I found my style of studying in my IB years. That's actually how I ended up as the best in ESS. I received that award at the end of the 12th grade. But yeah, that's how it
Oh.
is.
So you mentioned you found your study way, like how you study well. Is that right? In
Yes.
IB. How was your study method? And did the IB curriculum itself help you develop that study method? Right?
Oh, definitely. My study method for sure is just basically writing everything down on paper as much as you can, just repeating it over and over and over again until it sticks. However, I developed this method later on during my university years. That was when I truly just find my studying method, but that's also because in university, we're allowed to ask our lecturers to record the lecture. So what I do is that I'd ask them to just pull them aside for a chat before starting my lectures, asking them, "Hey, can I record your lecture with my phone and leave my phone here?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." Some of them are like okay with it. Some others may not be, which is totally fine. But once they do, what I do afterwards is that I transcribe them at home. And that just makes my notes more complete. And I usually share them with my friends as well, just friends and just everyone from the program, because you never know what you might miss. So, yeah,
I see. Wah, jadi berarti study methodnya Kak Sean ini pokoknya taking notes tuh yang efektif dan banyak gitu ya Kak Sean. That's very
definitely.
nice. Itu, personally, I think that's also very effective because that's also my study method right now. And I'm glad to know itu bisa emang bagus dipakai.
There
Okay,
we go.
Kak Sean, why did you decide to take the IB diploma? Apa yang bikin Kak Sean pas dulu masuk IB yakin kalau this is the best curriculum for me?
Well, that's a very good question because in my case, I definitely wanted to go abroad. I didn't know where at the time, but for myself, I did not see a future for me in Indo.
Oh, I
And
see.
don't get me wrong, a lot of my best friends actually still live in Indo and they're thriving in their work life, personal life. But for myself, I can't see it. And also, I've heard that abroad that you have no clickiness. Obviously, that's untrue. You do still have clickiness. However, they foster a more we're together mentality, I think. At least different from where I would have gone had I went to Indo. And thankfully, I didn't go to that university because I did meet a couple of the students from that university a couple years afterwards when I was back in Indo. And that stereotype was proven true, but maybe only for that year. I could definitely be wrong.
I see. Jadi Kak Sean emang dari dulu merasanya pengen keluar negeri ya Kak Sean belajarnya ya gitu.
Definitely.
Definitely yeah. That's why you took the IB diploma. I see.
Yep.
Because personally I also feel the same way. That's also why I thought aku ambil IB aja karena aku juga pengen kalau bisa one day belajar di luar negeri.
Exactly.
Kak Sean, tapi banyak yang bilang IB itu tough banget. And personally, I think that's kind of right with everything that we have to do in 2 years. Dari pengalaman Kak Sean sendiri, seberapa challenging sih IB itu? How challenging was it for you?
I would say, and people would agree with me with this, because I've been telling everyone this, IB is the hardest thing I had to do in my life. And that's
I see.
including my bachelor's, my master's, my conversion degrees, just because we have, as you know, we have a lot to do in those 2 years.
That's right.
And I hate math. I still hate
Oh,
math to this day. I'm just because I'm really no good at it. But at the time we had our teacher, Mr. Brown, bless him. He's one of the best teachers ever. And he was so patient with me. Let me just tell you that, because I still don't understand anything and everything to this day. But I would say when if I have to rank all my degrees, because IB is the hardest, I found my master's particularly very easy. My LPC, that's my law conversion in course degree later on that I did in Manchester to become a trainee solicitor. That one's the second hardest. My bachelor's degree, the third, and in the fourth place is my master's. I would say that's the easiest.
oh, I see. Jadi emang IB ini membantu banget ya di dunia kuliah bahkan setelah
Definitely
sekolah. Some people might even say it's harder than the college programs after school.
way
That's
harder.
amazing. Oke. Kak Sean, kira-kira subjek apa, what subjects, atau mungkin project apa selama Kak Sean belajar di IBDP yang menurut Kak Sean paling ngubah cara berpikir, atau mungkin yang paling berkesan lah?
I can't really choose just one subject or project, so I'm just going to list a couple of them and just tell you what exactly the effects are. So, all of the IAs, just time management skills on that one, because what are those deadlines? I still don't understand why they're so close to each other. For EE, definitely, my EE was in English Lit.
English.
I
Oh, I
did a
see.
comparison on two of my favorite books, Jane Eyre and Rebecca. It just helped fosters creative arguments for myself and just creative ideas. And obviously, ESS, that's the science subject I took. That for me is definitely developing a way to study. And of course, TOK to think critically, because you never know what's going to happen in that course. And CAS just to explore more of what I'd like to do personally, just
Oh, I
like on the
see.
off day.
If you had to choose, which of your projects did you find most interesting? Yang paling your favorite lah. Maybe from EE or your six IAs, or maybe even
Oh
your
God.
CAS.
Favorite subject, English Lit and ESS. But that could also be because of the teacher. But in English Lit, I used to think that, oh, I know quite a lot about English. Not grammar. I'm really terrible at grammar. If I
Oh,
think it's a right sentence to say, I'll just say it, you know?
right.
And
Same
I'll
here.
find out it's wrong afterwards. But then I found out because like when you study sastra, it's like different than actually studying the language. There's like additional elements placed in, like hyperbole, simile. I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of things that I do not know. That was an interesting day where we all just learned that we all suck in English. But yeah, thanks to our teacher at the time, Miss June, love her, bless her, we're able to actually pass the course with flying colors.
I see. Jadi buat yang sedang nonton, tadi Kak Sean ada sebut IA, EE, dan juga ada CAS. Jadi di IBDP ini ada program di luar pelajarannya sendiri itu ada namanya internal assessment. Jadi internal assessment itu semacam bisa eksperimen atau misalkan suatu hal, suatu project dari setiap subjek yang kita pilih, yang kita kembangkan sendiri. Itu tuh di luar pelajaran dan setiap murid-murid tuh diminta untuk bisa mengerjakan itu dalam 2 tahun untuk semua subjek yang mereka pilih. Lalu juga ada extended essay. Extended essay ini atau ini singkat sebagai II, itu semacam mini skripsi yang dilakukan oleh anak-anak IBDP selama 2 tahun juga. Itu hanya only one out of the six subjects, tapi itu harus sekitar 4.000 kata. Jadi it's like mini skripsi emang. And CAS itu juga also an extra activity, creativity, activity, and service yang juga harus dilakukan oleh semua murid-murid yang ambil IBDP. Jadi selain akademik, memang juga selain akademik yang subjek di sekolah, termasuk ada juga proyek-proyek yang harus dilakukan oleh anak-anak IBDP. Makanya IB is challenging, tapi it's very useful as well for the future, right? Because of the time management that we have to do. Right. Kak Sean, pernah nggak sih ada momen struggle banget mungkin? Like maybe is there a moment, specific moment where you had lots of struggles, maybe during IB, maybe even IGCSE years, sampai almost give up. What kept you going throughout those days?
I would say for my IB years, every day of math class, the math IA, I still don't pass math. I don't know, maybe the IB people, the correctors knew that I wanted to go abroad and they were like, oh, poor girl, let's just give her a pass because I still don't know how I got that passing mark. I think it's because personally, during our time, we had a really, really caring math teacher who's also our homeroom teacher, Mr. Brom. And every time I felt like giving up, he's just like, just a little bit more. Just
Just a little bit more.
give it your all, just a little bit more. It's going to be done. After this, you don't have to do a math in your life, which was a lie because I actually have to do some classes afterwards. But it's more related to tax. So it was weird for me because I understood all of that, but I understood none of math until this day. So definitely all of math classes from seventh grade up until the 12th grade.
I see. And Kak Sean, obviously there are downs and obviously there are ups as well in our lives kan. And I'm sure juga pas Kak Sean lagi di IB juga tetap ada momen-momen yang seru dan menyenangkan pasti ya. Kira-kira Kak Sean, in the midst of all of those challenges and difficulties, apa momen paling seru atau rewarding selama IB yang bikin maybe your most happiest moment or yeah, something like that. Perhaps?
Um, Definitely clearing up some misconceptions with classmates from previous years. So what happened was during my IGCSE years, obviously we're split into multiple classes, multiple ABCDs. And you hear rumors about one person spreading a rumor about the other person and whatnot. And in my case, I've had a misconception about one person because of what that person may or may have not said about me and my group of friends. But then after talking it out with with that same person, because we're a very small like core year group during the 2016 graduating period year. We're able to clear up some misconceptions about us. So actually finding out that the people around you are definitely nicer than you originally thought. That's an actually nice thing. They helped me out a lot as well, and I hope that I helped them sometimes, of course, during those years, as well as just the people in my English class and ESS
Mm.
class. That's always a fun time. I still don't know why we had sports. Just because I was bad at sports, the only thing I'm good at was badminton. It's
I see.
those Veep tests as we call them. So when you just go round and round for 10
Mm.
minutes.
I hate that as well.
Thank you. I just don't understand why we had that in seventh grade and we had that again in 11th grade. But I think other than that, it's definitely a nicer environment. How
Mm.
I would think it, less competition than during my IGCSE years, even though I wasn't competing with anyone, but it just the feel of it, you know?
Mm. That's great. Kira-kira sekarang Kak Sean sekarang sudah sedang berkarir di UK, is that right? So, amazing. Was it in Liverpool? Is it in Liverpool?
Yes.
Nah, kira-kira gimana prosesnya sampai akhirnya bisa kerja sekarang di UK? Was it something that you planned actually from the very beginning that you wanted to be in the UK? Or
Uh, Definitely not. So I'll just go from the third year of my university. I'll just tell the story from there because it would make more sense. So during my third year, in the Netherlands, I decided I wanted to go on an exchange year. And the only place where they allow a full year of exchange is at the city of Lincoln. Where is Lincoln? At first, I did not know where that was. Sounded very, very ancient to me. But I went there. It was a lovely, lovely city. Still my favorite city to this day to live at because it was so quiet. But everything and anything is going on there. I spent my third year in the UK and I realized I want to become a lawyer in the UK instead of the Netherlands. So afterwards, I went back to finish my fourth year. However, that fourth year coincided with COVID. It was 2020, so beginning of 2020. We all know where we were at that point of time. A couple of t things happened that year. I received an offer to work with the OECD. So that's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, as a legal consultant in international trade. This role was originally based in Paris, but due to COVID, I had to take up this place remotely. And at the same time, I also applied for a master's degree. So I applied to three universities, the University of Cambridge, King's College London, and Oxford. I received an offer from Cambridge and King's College, but got waitlisted in Oxford, although along the line that turned into an acceptance as well. However, without the actual scholarship offer, I was unable to take up my place at any of the universities. So instead, I discussed this with my parents, and they told me to just come home and do the graduate diploma in law. So a GDL is basically a one-year conversion course that lets non-law or international graduates, such as myself, learn core UK law subjects so that I can move on to the UK to become a solicitor. So I did this remotely from Indo. And during my GDL years, so it's just one quick year in Indo, at the behest of Mother Dearest, I reapplied to Cambridge and Oxford. This time I applied with my full grades. I managed to receive an offer letter from both universities, but the deciding point of where to go was just where or who offers me the most money, and Cambridge offered me the most money. So I completed my master's in corporate law in Cambridge. I then moved to Manchester the year after, 2022, to complete my LPC. That's the legal practice course. So that's a vocational course one takes up before starting the trainee solicitorship position. And then after that, while doing my LPC course, I work part-time as a compliance analyst because I'm a workaholic. I don't know why I'm doing this because the LPC, it's basically like the IB, but it's in one year. But because well, doing the
wow.
IB is already so hard that you kind of get used to the workload. Um, but yeah, and after graduating the LPC, I received an offer to work as a paralegal in 2023. and the position is remote. So then I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Let's do that. And within a year, I was promoted to trainee solicitor, and I will be officially a privacy counsel in 2027, January 1st. So we're looking forward to that. And as a side note, my position is completely remote, so I work from home.
Wow, that's so incredible story. That's
Thank you.
amazing. Kak Sean, what made you initially get interested into law, if I may ask?
You're gonna think this is really funny or stupid,
Oh,
maybe. But I watched How to Get Away with Murder, and I
oh,
really liked Annalise Keating's character, and I thought I want to be that. Turns out I could not do criminal law because the cases are too jarring. So I thought, okay, what else can I do that's not this? And I thought, oh, corporate law. Also, the salary is very high. But the position I'm currently at right now is more in data privacy, which it's much, much easier. So, like, the terms and conditions you see on websites that you don't read, yeah, we analyze those.
oh, I see. Well, personally aku sih dengernya amazing banget cerita jalan hidupnya Kak Sean sampai di masa-masa kuliahnya itu dan juga cerita lucunya tentang how she got interested into law. Yeah, always the most unexpected ways we suddenly find our interests. Personally,
Exactly.
I got interested in space because of an old Angry Birds cartoon
Oh,
that was in
see, there you
space.
go.
Akhirnya sampai sekarang jadinya aku pengen explore luar angkasa gitu. Ever since I was 6 years old.
Oh, see, there you go. Because of cartoons,
Because of
anything and everything
cartoons,
works.
things we watch. So TV's not always bad, is it?
Exactly. Sometimes it could be educational, depending on the what channel you like, watch, but
Right. Kak Shan, banyak teman-teman aku di Stella Maris tuh tentunya juga punya mimpi buat kuliah di luar negeri. Termasuk meet me as well because I've mentioned that I also wanna study abroad one day. Kira-kira, what's your best advice for us?
go for it. Literally, what are you gonna lose? Maybe I just don't look back on that moment and be like, oh my God, I should have applied for this. Don't ever do that. Honestly, I think the only reason I was able to go abroad in the first place was because I got a scholarship. So for those of you who are also not as well off as I am, just know that there are all sorts of help there. Don't take loans. No loans, please no. I just hear bad things about people taking loans, even for a degree. Sometimes you also have to think about that trade-off that you're risking for your credit score and everything. I also don't know how credit score works in Indo. Only know how the credit score works here. Um, but just go for it. If you don't know how to apply for the universities you want, you can actually look it up on Google. Just Google it. Also make this a practice. Google things yourself before actually asking people. Don't do it the other way around. It's just, I don't want to say it's annoying, but it's annoying when people do that. So just be self-sufficient. Only when you aren't able to find the answer yourself, may you ask. Make that a practice because at least the people that I've interacted with here practice more of that mindset, just looking for things for yourself, trying out things for yourself before actually asking for help. But yeah, but honestly, just go for it. What are you going to lose at this point?
Right, that's very sound advice. Thank you, Kak Shan, for the advice. Okay. Kak Shan, earlier you mentioned you got scholarship, right? In the
Yes.
yes. How did you find those scholarships, if I may ask?
So, for the bachelor's one, they had a couple of scholarships, and at the time, I went with an agency. So I believe there was like 20 of us, all from different degrees in the same universities. And they had this thing called the World Talent Scholarship, where you just write an essay, and then it's more than one people that can get it. I think it's about 15 people, so most of us got it, so only a couple of people didn't. And at the time, our university fees about 8,000 euros a year, which to some people it's not a lot, but to me it's a heck of a lot of money.
Right.
And the scholarship was for 5,000, but it's only for that year. But honestly, that was definitely the main point of how I was able to actually accept the offer and got in. And so it's definitely by chance. That's how I would definitely describe the experience. So that one is for the bachelor's. And then after that, for my exchange, I also got a scholarship. So that's the Erasmus scholarship. For that one, I'm not quite sure how. I think if you apply for an Erasmus exchange, and I think you can also apply later in Germany if you want to go somewhere else, and if that school actually offers an Erasmus thing, because the EU, you can definitely apply for this scholarship. I also think you need to write an essay. I'm not quite sure anymore. And then you'd get a stipend of, I want to say 5,000 to 10,000 euros. I'm not quite sure. I just remembered receiving monthly from them to pay my
Monthly.
living costs, the bills, and everything. Yeah. And after that, for the Cambridge one, I'm not quite sure about that one. See, as you can tell, it's definitely all by chance. Blessed by God. We love it. But definitely in my case, I had this chat with my mom, and she told me that you're only going to Cambridge if the scholarships pay more than 50%. Because, okay, so the cost for a master's, at least for my master's, was 33,000 pounds, which I don't know where anyone would get that money unless you actually already have that money. And that, which I know it sounds ridiculous. So obviously it has to be 70% or more. And then I think in my case, it was grade excellence. So due to my grades during my bachelor years, thankfully, that came through. And when they were selecting for people who would receive the scholarship, I think they saw my grade and they saw my motivation and was like, okay, let's take that girl. In my case, it was the Cambridge Trust. You can apply for multiple scholarships, but the one that I received, it's definitely based on your grades. Grades as well as extracurricular activities, which I'm not sure why I received it as well, because I'm pretty sure I didn't do much during my bachelor's, so definitely all up to chance. But if you want scholarships, you can just look them up on universities. They usually have a specific scholarship forum or even the scholarship page. And I do know that the Indonesian government actually does offer some scholarships, although I do not know the process. You're going to have to look that up yourself.
Jadi everyone yang sedang mendengarkan, Kak Sean tadi baru ceritakan tentang bagaimana dia dapat scholarshipnya di her for bachelor's and master's ya. Tadi dia ada bilang dia dapat scholarship for writing an essay, was it right? An essay. Ya akhirnya dia dapat scholarship bisa masuk ke bachelornya, bisa dipotong untuk uang untuk masuknya. And also for her masters, she also got scholarship as well. And sebenarnya kalau tadi my takeaway anyway from Kak Sean untuk semua yang mendengarkan kalau mau scholarship the most important part is research. Is that right? Yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Jadi riset saja universitinya mau kemana pasti nanti ada detail-detailnya dan Tuhan akan kasih jalannya. Because as well as Kak Sean as you mentioned earlier, a lot of it was by chance, was it?
Definitely.
Yes.
Chance,
Yes.
luck, God, all
Chance
of it.
given. And that's very fortunate and yes, terus didoakan dan terus riset untuk universitinya. Okay. Kak Sean, so when was the last time you were in Indonesia? How long has it been?
Oh my God. It's been quite some time, but only because my parents keep coming here for Christmas when I told
Oh,
them I want to go back. So the next time I'm coming back to Indo is actually 2026, January 2026, only for a
oh,
couple
next
of
year.
weeks. My best friend is getting married, so I will obviously be there for her.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, that's it. And then I'm going back straight to the UK.
Kadang kalau Kak Sean di UK, apakah kangen dengan Indonesia? Maybe the food, the environments, the people, maybe?
I mean, I miss how cheap everything is. Everything here is just so
Yes.
expensive. Although, and this is one of the things that I talked to my mom about, is that when I'm in Indo, I think of like buying things in rupiah. So everything is just mahal banget. I mean, just like everything di atas 100.000 for me is like, oh God, no. And then we made a comparison to I use a specific shampoo. There's a specific shampoo that I use. It's too expensive. Let's just say it's about 30 pounds, which I know it's very, very expensive, which equates to about 500 ribuan. And my mom was like, "You really? 500,000?" I'm like, well, if you make it into Indonesian rupiahs, it's expensive, but in pounds, it sounds cheaper. But yeah, it's a big bottle of shampoo though, let me clarify. And yeah, it's just that. And in terms of missing Indo, I don't particularly miss Indo per se, just because I talk to like my group of friends, when we actually have time. And contrary to a lot of people, I'm actually very close to my parents, especially my mom. How close am I?
That's nice.
I talk to her every day just because we share the same brain cell. Yeah, she's that type of parent. I would say she's quite cool. And she's the type of mom where every one of my, well, she knows every one of my friends' secrets. That's how, like, in the know my mom is. And she actually gives great advice. Do I take her advice? No, I don't. But, just listening to the advice and just sharing what we watch on Netflix, or Disney Plus, which is
Oh,
really
okay.
fun.
I see. So you must be loving your life in UK, definitely, right?
Definitely. Ever since I think third year of uni, I live alone. I used to, be with roommates. That was actually where I met my best friend. But after moving out from that place and just living alone, I just can't stop the independent life. It's just too nice. Just not have anyone or anything to worry about, but just yourself.
Kak Sean, I'm intrigued because aku juga pengen sesekali bisa ke UK juga, maybe one day, to visit Manchester. You've been in Manchester, yes?
Oh yeah, I lived there for a couple of years, yes.
I heard the food's not very good there.
Oh, actually, on the contrary, if you find some like really good places, they're really good. There's this like jerk chicken truck called,
Oh,
I think it was Rita Mama's or something like that. So it's Afro-Caribbean food. I used to go there every Saturday just because
every
it's
Saturday.
so good.
Oh, I see. Kak Sean, I'm interested. Back then, when you first moved to maybe UK or maybe Netherlands,
Mhm.
culture shock, did you get any culture shock? Like maybe the people act differently? Like was the different vibe, different
I
ways of
mean,
speaking?
I think I was expecting people to be definitely in my course, in just the law course in general, people would think you're going to be so competitive, which did not happen, at least not
Oh,
in like my university in The Hague, where I'm so thankful. We had this thing called the Law Squad, because at the time during 2016, the word squad was like such a thing, like that's what cool and hip or whatever people may call it these days. So that was like about 25 of us in the law squad where we met on our first orientation day and we just stick with that group throughout uni. Obviously, we broke into more smaller groups to the people we're actually close to. But I think what solidifies the experience for me was that during the first exam, so we have exams every 3 months, and it's a quarter-based system. So every 3 months we do the exam, and then we change into new subjects every 3 months. That's how we're able to cover a large of subject areas. But in my case, what I like to do is that I take notes. This is basically my format. I go to class, I sit separate from my friends, although we do chat during the break, just because they know I have to sit at the most upfront like seat because I really have bad hearing issues and I get sleepy very, very easily. At one point, I had a jar of Nutella. Oh, also, we're able to eat in class, but I think that's only my university that does that,
I
where the
see.
teacher is just so chill. But that's also because I told him like, and also he knows that I don't have breakfast at the time. So he's like, okay, Sean, you're not having breakfast again. Okay, Nutella, just eat Nutella and answer some questions. And I am that kid that actually, every single time in class, I always put my hand up. Not to ask questions, that I do that after class, but just to answer the teachers because I don't understand why people just don't answer it when when the teachers ask, because then you can't move forward and the class won't end earlier. Like that's always
Yeah.
my goal. And like if what you say is wrong, okay, what's the right one then, you know? So like it's literally fine to actually do that. But definitely after all of that, during the exam season, so I take notes. I upload my notes so everyone can read them.
Mm. Well,
Um
that's very nice.
and thank you. Because like for me it's like if someone for some reason was unable to, go to class or even understand what the teachers are saying, because let's be honest, it's quite hard with their accents, especially we were an international school.
True.
So we had this one teacher. He's actually one of the best teachers, but his French accent was so potent that it took me a while. I nearly cried, and that was during my fourth year, during my law and econ, where I think during the tests I cried because I really thought I failed. And the thing that I have with my teacher is that she told me that she's only going to give me a reference letter only if I get an 80% or more in that subject. And I thought I was going to fail because one of the questions was by the other teacher who speaks very potent French. But I actually got a 98%. So I was like, okay, it did not go as terribly as I thought it would. But going back to answer the question, definitely the competition. Like people here are definitely it's either you're in the camp of leave me alone, let me be by myself, which is totally fine, or okay, let's work on this like together, like no competition. Why with the competition? I mean, competition is healthy,
Yes.
but I mean, don't be too egotistical about it.
Well, that's good notes. Maybe I'll take that into account. Kak Sean, kalau Kak Sean bisa balik ngomong sama diri sendiri waktu masih SMA di Stella Maris, like you could turn back time and you could talk to yourself back then when you were in high school, what advice would you give yourself? Is there any?
Ask questions. Literally, you don't understand. Ask the teacher why you don't understand. I mean, not to the point where you just hold up the entire class. You can do that after like class, everything, but just ask the teachers to clarify. Ask teacher to slow down. Because sometimes they talk in monotonous voices that I'm like, oh my God, you're making me fall asleep. I can't do this. Um, but also, like, I do think that had I been able to study properly, I would have actually succeeded in all my classes, even math, which says a lot. So yeah, definitely ask more questions. And just for me specifically, smile more. I don't know why I was so gloomy back then. Just 7th to 10th grade, I was gloomy. And it did not help the fact that I'm very, like, I like to throw tantrums a lot. It may happen during class, yes. I was going through a lot. I didn't even know what I was going through, but I was going through a lot, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, definitely ask questions, appreciate things more. In terms of just like, school life and everything. But I think other than that, I definitely wouldn't want to change anything else, including everything I've been through, because if I hadn't been through all of that, wouldn't have gone here. So
True. Yes, very nice. That's true. Because well, we go through everything to be who we are today, right?
exactly.
That's very sound advice though to give yourself. Karena emang kalau misalkan kita lagi belajar, kita suka gugup-gugup mau nanya, nanya nggak ya? We should
Mhm.
ask, right? We should definitely
Always ask, no
always.
matter how stupid it sounds to you. And this is, I think, something that I learned here.
Mm,
There are no stupid questions because it's rather you know now than you never know what's going to happen, you know? And if the teacher says you can't ask questions, then I mean, do just ask. It's their job to answer their questions,
yes, we're here to
So
learn.
exactly.
Okay, Kak Sean, finally, can you give us one final advice for all of us adik-adik Stella Maris, termasuk aku nih, dan teman-teman yang sedang mendengarkan sekarang, supaya kita terus bisa berani bermimpi besar untuk mewujudkan all of our dreams from today. One final
I
advice.
mean, I'd echo myself from earlier to just go for it. Um, the people and just a couple of advice from university, I guess. It's the people you meet there could definitely be your best friend. For example, I met my best friend. in second year of uni. She's a new student. She's 1 year younger than me, Maria. And we live in the same household. That's how we met. And we started becoming even more closer once we left that household. And she's now become my best friend ever. I think my mom just adopted her at one point out of the ordinary. But also, peer pressure is not a thing. You know, you if you have your own resolve, you can actually, not go with the flow on other things because that's what I've been told. With the culture here, because in here they have a very heavy emphasis on like, the drinking culture and whatnot. And I don't drink, but I've never feel pressured by my friends at all to what they do is they'll ask you if you want to try. If you say no, they'll understand. So consent is definitely a thing here.
Mhm.
Obviously, it will depend on your own just route, what you're going to go through. And if, for example, I'm pretty sure not all of you are going to go to the UK. Some of you may be going to the Australia, to the US, and I can't speak for the experiences there. But I do have one of my best friends. She goes to Australia. I'm sure she's back in Indo now for a gap year. But I think she had a fun time there. So just make the best of what you got and don't be scared to hang around with people that are not the same nationality. That's actually how I started. In fact, I hang out only with the people not from my nationality,
Oh,
just because the thing is the people from my nationality that actually came with me were all very, very rich, and I am not. And the lifestyle that they lead and my lifestyle are so different, as in some of them wanted to go to different cities every couple of days. I don't have the money to do that, and I'm not gonna ask my mom and dad for money. That's ridiculous. No. Um, but after that, I hang out with, just the friends that I made that may not be the same nationality. And that did cause tension between me and the other Indonesians, but I really don't care. Also, that's also what you have to learn to literally not care. If you feel bad for something that you didn't do, then it's not your thing. Like, why are you apologizing? And I think that was
yeah.
also a lesson for me because I was I don't want to say a doormat, but I was a people pleaser from day one until I think the fourth year, where my best friend told me that apparently, so remember those notes that I told you I uploaded for people to download? So apparently, some people downloaded them, and they're for free, by the way. And apparently they still failed their exams and they were blaming me. So this happened during second year, but I did not know any of this. And my best friend told me this in fourth year because she knew that my mindset's changed already. And I thought, well, one, I don't know why it's my fault because when I actually like, just said to people, hey, here you go, here are my notes. I didn't say you're gonna pass.
Yeah.
I said, here are my notes. Look at them when you like, wanna. Even my best friend does not use my notes because she said, I don't know how to read your notes. And I'm like, okay, you
That's
don't
your
you don't
problem,
have
right?
to. Exactly. And it's like free. There's no guarantee. And it's like you're still blaming me. And I'm like, yeah, I really don't care. I mean, the thing is, I passed with like high marks with this. I don't know how, how, it's the same notes. So exactly. So you just stand your ground for something. But also if you are like wrong, in a situation, apologize. I do not like people that are so stubborn that they refuse to apologize, and also beware of toxic friendships. Also, I think people are also at this point, people think that some friendships are transactional. I think people are forgetting the idea how friendships used to be, to just do something for your friend just because you want to. So in my case, I send flowers to my best friends every couple of months, and they do the same to me, just because we don't talk every day. Also, that's the thing about people here. Sometimes you won't talk every day, and it doesn't mean that they hate you. I promise to you. It just means that they're busy.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, for example, that actually correlates well with my texting because I hate texting. I prefer leaving voice notes on IG. That's it. And my best friends and even my close friends, they know like how like my communication technique is. So I always tell them like I'm getting back to you in 5 to 7 business days because Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to like talk to anyone. I just want to do my own thing, and that is normal. That is completely okay. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna make some mistakes growing up. It's okay. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Just have fun with it, man.
We all do. Right. Sebentar lagi kita teman-teman akan masuk ke sesi Q&A. Selama kita tunggu pertanyaan-pertanyaannya, let's talk a bit more with Kak Sean right now. So, you mentioned you have a best friend until now. Is that right? Best friend?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it best friend from college or was it since Stella Maris?
Oh no. So I have my separate group of friends from Stalmanis. That's the core group, as I call them. There's four of us. And I'm seeing them back in Indo in January 2026. And we do actually have a trip planned, I think a couple years from now. It was supposed to be this year. Well, it was supposed to be 2020, but then COVID, and then got pushed back. It was supposed to be 2025, but then all of us are busy. So I thought, okay, can we do 2027? Because then I'll be a solicitor and I'll have more money. But we have that. And my best friend I met during the second year of university. And she's my ride or die ever since then.
I see. Uh, what about the teachers? Do you still keep contact with the teachers from Stella Maris?
I mean, I see a couple. I mean, I follow a lot of, I mean, depends on what you mean by keeping in contact, I guess. I mean, I know, I guess, ish of how people are doing from either LinkedIn or if I follow them on IG. But I think the most recent teacher I would say is Miss June. But that was like a couple of years ago where we actually had a proper conversation. But I think they're all right. Pretty sure they're all right. They're busy doing their own thing.
By the way, earlier, Mr. Jonas, if you still remember, Mr.
Oh my
Jonas says hi.
God, Mr. Jonas,
Yeah,
what?
Mr. Jonas says hi earlier. He
You're
says,
still
send my
there.
regards to Kak
Hi.
Sean. Right. Okay. He's still our, he's still amazing teacher here. I mean,
Oh my God.
he so took me in when my first year here, introduced me to the place. He's a really nice teacher. I'm glad to
Oh
have him.
my, bless him. Because the thing is, during like my year, is he's the youngest teacher, so we always call him the baby-faced one.
He's no longer the youngest, I don't think so.
I know. So I was like, oh my God, Mr. Jonas, it's been a while.
Okay, a question from Kak Alisa.
Mhm.
Sean, dengan semua pencapaian Kak Sean di luar negeri seperti sekarang, adakah tuntunan atau harapan terutama dari keluarga untuk Kak Sean kembali lagi ke Indonesia? Atau mungkin dari Kak Sean yang masih ada keinginan untuk kembali?
Well, thank you, first of all, for your question. No, that's the thing with me and my parents, and I think definitely what sets me apart from some of my friends is that they're very, very supportive of me since day one. So remember when I told you that I was really terrible at studying? They never forced me. They were not the, oh, kamu harus juara satu kalau nggak boleh makan or something like that. I'm pretty sure some people went through something like that, which is child abuse, but we're not gonna, that's a different conversation for another day. Um, but they just told me like wherever you're happy, wherever you see your career headed, go there. Ntar mama ikutin kamu. Which I'm like, oh God, no, please no. I'm like, you can visit me, and they're both retired now. So they're living fine and well in Indo. They just love visiting me here. But I think it also depends on how your family is, because I know that some families are not as supportive. For example, people like the parents who actually force you to live out their dreams. You're gonna have to have a conversation with your mom and dad about that. But in my case, I'm just lucky in terms of how everything turned out for me. So,
Okay, it's very nice. Glad to hear that. Question from Kak Nanang. Oh, three questions actually.
oh,
One, bagaimana mendapatkan letter of acceptance dan mengajukan student visa? Two, apakah visa yang digunakan untuk kuliah tetap sama kalau lanjut kerja? And three, apakah visa U yang digunakan untuk kuliah sambil kerja di UK? Did you get that?
I mean, can you repeat the first question? I'm not, I'm like, no, it's visa related.
First question, bagaimana mendapatkan letter of acceptance (LOA) dan mengajukan student visa?
I guess my question to Kak Nanang is, have you checked Google yet?
Yes.
Like if
I would have
you
answered the same.
right, I'm like, the thing is these are very easy questions and depending on the
Yes,
university,
definitely.
because then you a letter of acceptance is an offer letter, so you have to get accepted. I'm sorry if I sound condescending
No,
here.
it's okay.
I'm not trying to. It's just how I sound like.
Yes.
But yeah, please Google these first. If you still have no answers, ask ChatGPT. You know, I'm just
Yes.
kidding.
He'll find
But
your
yeah,
sources.
exactly. Like there are multiple sources. The thing is, these are the things that you can find on the website themselves. If you don't
Definitely.
understand them, use Google Translate, which is perfectly fine. So yeah.
Yes. I agree very much. It's all about the
Hmm.
research, is it? Whatever you want to call. A question from Karetsa Raylin Jocelyn dari Tangerang. Hi Kak Sean, could you share what extracurriculars you did during high school? Thank you.
Oh God. I don't think I did anything. We didn't have a thing back then. I'm pretty sure. I think Mr. Jonas can collaborate with us on this, but we didn't have anything back then.
Oh,
But yeah, like the system changed so much. I think you guys have a better system
yeah,
in
it's been
place
9 years
now.
anyway, so
Yeah, exactly. Like a
we have a
much
lot of
better.
them now.
I know. Like I saw something about fashion design and cheerleading, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm like, that was definitely not there. But yeah, that was I did nothing. But during my I think I only did extracurriculars during my master's. That was really fun. I took up horse riding for the first time. I took horse riding. I did a lot of the societies like law, economics, finance, just because I want to enrich myself. And I think it also depends on like the school you go to, which one you take. But if you're trying to apply for universities, they do like depending on the universities, I know like for US universities, they request a lot. Like I like watching those like college acceptance reactions on YouTube, you know. Um and they say like, "Oh, I'm like an A plus student, you know, like just a 4 like 5.0 GPA and I'm doing this like 10 things at once." And I'm like, "I did none of that." So I would say that I think you can try to do anything and everything you want that's offered, but just be aware of like your own, don't burn yourself out,
Yeah,
especially at a very young age.
definitely.
Like, don't do that. Work will bum that out for you. So that's perfectly fine. So you just wait your turn.
That's very sound advice, especially for us. It's extracurricular activity, so it should also be refreshing, shouldn't it? It's a sort of a
Exactly. It
break
shouldn't
from all of our academics. Is that right?
exactly. It shouldn't burden you at all. And if you're doing all of this for like extra credit or just, you know, to make it look good on your CV, you have time to do that during your bachelor's. That's how I got mine done. What's it called? So when people, because the thing is, people always wonder, like, why didn't you apply somewhere else for your bachelor's? Because obviously you're smart enough to get into like Cambridge. And I'm like, yeah, I was smart enough then. I wasn't smart enough like beginning. Like, that's a different thing. I was like, hey, that's a different thing. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, I've been getting a lot from our interview today, and I'm very glad that we can talk because I'm sure me and everyone's listening also want to study abroad one day. Some of us, anyway. And that's very sound advice, all of them from the advices while in high school and the advices while in college as well. And I think those are very good things that we can apply to ourselves, even including the study method you mentioned in the beginning, which I'm sure is very helpful. I think there's a name for it actually. If I'm not mistaken, it's blurting. If I
Oh, there you
research,
go.
yeah, it's amazing. Uh, Kashan, if I may ask, um, you're currently in where? Liverpool, or correct? Correct?
Cool.
In
Yeah.
in Liverpool. It's just a fun question I want to ask. Between Liverpool and you mentioned you've been in Manchester as well, which is
Mhm.
better?
Cambridge. It's just I've lived in four cities now: Lincoln, Cambridge, Liverpool, and Manchester. I would say Cambridge, just in terms of like I love ancient architecture,
Ancient architecture,
old churches and everything, and it's
definitely.
just very like everything's there because it's thing with Cambridge, also Oxford, from what I've heard, is that it's a university like city. So the colleges are spread around the city, which makes it very interesting. You can see old buildings here and there. But in terms of just walkability, and prices and rent, Liverpool. Definitely Liverpool. That was actually the reason why I moved to Liverpool. Because like I told you, I work remotely from home. So I can just work anywhere, in the
Yeah.
UK. But in Manchester, the prices for the rent was getting higher. And for what I was getting, it was not worth the price. And I moved here. I live in an apartment, which is very close to the center. And it's like a proper apartment building. We have a gym, we have a reception, everything's here. It's much, much nicer
Mhm.
than living in like a shoebox in Manchester, for the same, like roughly
I
the same
see.
price.
So currently where you are is more or less the best, is it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it
Definitely.
took a while to understand the accents, even for me, just because I'm more familiar with either the RP, so that's the standard pronounced pronunciation of English, um, or even just the Manchester accent. But Scouse, which is the Liverpool accent, it's very, very hard. But one of my good friends, she's Scouse, so I was like, okay, I think this is what you're telling. I do have to tell them to slow down multiple times, but they're okay with it. And the more northern you go in the UK, the lovelier the people are. For example, a couple of times here, and that's, I think, I guess for a culture shock, this would be one of the things, is that people can and will compliment you right there and then. Ask for your opinion on things on the street. Because I really like it when people are like that, I was like, okay, I guess this is like my city for now.
Oh, wow, I can't believe it's been an hour. I actually want to ask a lot more, tapi our time is cutting short. Thank you banget ya, Kak Sean. Bersyukur aku dan semua yang mendengarkan bisa dengar dan ngobrol dengan kakak sekarang. Dan aku yakin everyone who is listening are beyond inspired. Good luck forward, Kak Sean. Hope God bless you always in all of your journeys and all of your struggles, even. You can keep going and going through your, difficulties and struggles, and you'll eventually get into higher heights.
Amen to
Amen.
that.
Good
Yeah,
luck forward. So guys, that's it for today's episode of STEMA Talks Podcast. Semoga pada bisa ambil good things dan pelajaran banyak dari yang Kak Sean hari ini. And let's keep dreaming big. Oh ya, before I forget, besok kita ada special open day for IBDP. Jadi buat parents atau yang interested ya, pokoknya yang interested tentang IBDP bisa besok datang ke Stella Maris Gading Serpong jam 9 sampai jam 12 pagi. Yeah, be sure to see you. We'll be right there explaining about IBDP. So be sure to be there tomorrow. Nantikan podcast Tema Talk minggu depan setiap Jumat jam 3 sore bersama narasumber kredibel dan host kece. Jangan sampai ketinggalan, nggak daftar ya, karena well, it's free, it's gratis, so why not? Okay. And Sean, I think it's time to say goodbye to everyone as well. So,
perfect.
right. See you all next week and goodbye. Signing off. Rajamin Juan Theodorus Samosir.